It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.
Sitting down here on the EP Podcast, we have a special treat. I love that we do this, I think, every year around this time. We'll kind of do like an end of the year kind of holiday hangout with Mayor Kelly Burke. How are you?
I'm great, Chris, and it's nice to be down at the
it's not 9 foot.
6.5 foot MDF board bar.
Well, the 9 foot homemade oak bar was really like 11 and a half feet or 12 feet, and then it curved, but that doesn't roll off the tongue. So I just went with 9 foot homemade oak bar. A temporary spot, and we're going to talk about this place in a little bit here because I have a question about their location and something that happened right next to them. But Spoken Vine looks like it may be the new home of the EP Podcast Studios.
That's great. Congratulations. That's a great. It's a great meshing of a lot of your interests: eating, drinking, and being on a podcast.
Right, and
so it all works out.
Being the center of attention in the center of town at 95th and Kedzie.
And I think I brought up that there's some dissatisfaction with some of your other frequent guests like myself that Frank seems to be the only one who gets to eat.
Yeah.
And
drink wine.
And drink wine. Yeah. So you've told me that that's going to be in the future.
Yeah, definitely. From in the future when you come in, and we'll just have to have food and drink on the table all the time. I'm sure Reed and Bridget will not mind at all if we just keep eating their food and drinking their wine while we're over there. So I have a few questions for you today, of course. And I wanted to start off with something that it kind of struck me last night. I mean, we record before this, but last night you and I bumped into each other at Porter Cullen's. And it's all decorated. It's beautiful.
Looks great.
I was talking with Kirtan, the owner, and he was going between one location and another because he has a place now in River North. And I was curious what you think about the idea that you had a business grow with a new owner, become incredibly successful, and then that owner said, I had so much success in Evergreen Park, I'm going to try River North with a new place, which is like, that's the big leagues. But he did well in Evergreen. That's what gives him the confidence to go and do it. What does that say to you?
I think it, first of all, it's a testament to Curtin because he came into the restaurant biz from a different perspective.
Yeah.
He had been a business consultant of some sort. So he, it wasn't in his blood, so to speak. So the fact that he has the energy and enthusiasm and skill, to grow not only Porter Cullen's, but to then and keep it popular. It was already, a popular gathering spot, and to take it to a whole nother level and then expand into a really competitive restaurant market, River North, is wonderful. I think it says a lot about the local. I mean, Evergreen Park has supported them. Oak Lawn supported them. Chicago, Mount Greenwood, Beverly, like the whole neighborhood has supported Porter Cullen's and responded positively to all the changes he's brought on board. Gave him, the wind under his wings to start something new. And one thing he told me last night was he's not just forgetting about his South Side roots because he's got trips planned. He's doing like bus trips where he's going to take folks.
Oh, he invited me.
Yeah. He's they'll have a school bus or whatever bus and take people from Porter Cullen's down to his restaurant and then, a little bit of a night on the town. And I just thought that was really cool that he continues to, stick with his home roots as well. So,
he's going back and forth. Like he was there. He's like, I was at the other place. I wanted to get back here tonight. And, it could be very easy to be like, that's my shiny new toy down there. And he's full on Porter Cullen's, which is awesome.
Yeah. So I'm proud of, I think the village has done a good job, as a entity in supporting and, supporting him in his business needs. But the community's done a wonderful job in just supporting the restaurant.
And I would think that when you see success with a restaurant like that, that is the reason why you see so many new eateries open up.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Mia Moore, you have the Evergreen Social, which I've been into a few times. You have even La Mickey O'Cana, Di Danielle, and a couple other places. And you see that success. The restaurants are doing really, really well here in Evergreen. Spoken Vine expanded. They're expanding again now.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they also have that building right next to them that has been razed to the ground that was there for a while right there at 95th and Kedzie. The village is who tore that down, correct? And then you have plans for it?
The village tore it down, right. So before we get to that, I am going to agree with you about the success of the restaurants, hospitality establishments. We have to keep supporting them. But I think people who want to invest their time and energy and money in opening a restaurant, we have to show them that we're going to support them, that the neighborhood's going to support them, and I think we've done that. So, keep getting out there and supporting these establishments, because it's going to pay off in even more things coming. Like I think it's going to be later on this winter, there's now it's a chain, but it's an awesome restaurant. It's called Cava, and it is, I would say, upscale, casual Mediterranean restaurant, healthy food, just awesome. And we're going to be one of they're all over the Southeast, and we're going to, and I think maybe the East Coast, but they're opening numerous restaurants in Chicago, and Evergreen Park was one of the places they have chosen. So they'll be opening at the Plaza.
Okay.
Right. It was the old, I think the old Mod Pizza.
Well, what's interesting about the Plaza, that's something when I've interviewed businesses that are over there, that is a great testing ground. They've always said, like, when you look at the demographics of the area, you look at how Evergreen Park works with businesses, if you are going to break into this market, that's one of the places that you want to see if it works. Because if it works there, you can do a lot more in this whole area, which I always thought was really interesting, that Evergreen is like one of those perfect nesting places for somebody to take a shot.
Yeah, and it's different. It's not it's a chain, but it's not fast food. It's very healthy, very just a different. Not that everybody loves burgers, fries, pizza. I'm just as much, but to have that as an alternative, I think is a great compliment to a lot of the businesses at the Plaza. So that's great. That's coming up. But back to your question about the lot. Got
a big empty lot now after we took that building down.
Right. So the first thing we have to do is get it surveyed, because it's right. It butts up against the railroad right of way.
Okay.
So we need to establish what the boundary lines are for it, and then the village is going to create some additional parking, which will be really helpful for the businesses that are in that Oberweis Plaza.
Okay.
Because that can get congested.
It gets very congested over there. Yeah.
And so, we'll work with our engineering firm and, the businesses also to design the most, first of all, an attractive gateway to the village, but also a really, useful and well laid out parking lot.
Never forget that 10-year-old Nicky Lanuti. He gave you plans for a bridge that went over 95th, right in that area.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out.
Yeah, they're still under review.
He drew out an entire thing for the mayor and handed it to her. All right, so that's interesting that you're going to be doing that. And then as I think about empty spaces, one of them that always pops into my brain is 91st and Kedzie. Mm-hmm. You have a section over there. It's been a while. There's been things that you've been kind of looking to do there. Nothing's really panned out. Is there any plan for that area right now?
Yeah, so this would be the area on the north side of 91st Street that would be a big vacant area that's adjacent to the fire department. So it hasn't really proved commercially viable, and so one of our big needs is playing fields. We are oversubscribed with requests for soccer fields, and even things we can use for lacrosse, things like that. So we worked with a landscape architect firm and our rec department, and came up with a plan for which we're seeking grant funding through the state of Illinois. So the state of Illinois Department of Natural Resources has a grant program called OSLAD, the Open Land something. But basically, they give a fairly big amount of money for development of new recreation facilities. So we have put together what we thought was a really strong application, and we would put in soccer playing fields for little kids in there, as well as a playground. And then we'd be able to do some renovations to some of the other fields at Yukich, which would open them up for more of the adult kids. So we'd move the little kids to this area, which would create, be kind of a butterfly effect. It would create a lot more usability of some of our other existing. We'd be able to put in some kind of renovations to those surfaces, do some additional renovations at Yukich of some existing facilities. So it's all kind of one big package. Do a little bit of additional improvements to the ice rink. So it's all dependent on grant funding. We should find out within the next 30 to 45 days if our application was successful. And I hope it is, because I think it'd be a really exciting project.
Yeah, that sounds really neat. I love that. I love that you're building up parks and public spaces for people to be in.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, like, it's very important. I took Chicago history classes because I was like a history minor.
Yeah.
And so for fun, I would look at Chicago history stuff. And when you learn that that's even what the development of Chicago was in this whole area, the idea it was built around parks and public spaces. Yeah. And I like the fact that Evergreen is still trying to do something like that. That's awesome. There were a couple of incidents at your Walmart. Although it does seem like that's Chicago crime spilling across Western Avenue to that location. It does not seem like it. Like, every time I read about it, it's not somebody from Evergreen Park doing it.
No.
And your police department, it seems like they have a pretty good response time getting over there, and they really focus on that area in Evergreen Park. Can you talk about EPPD and what you think of their response and how they're handling that?
Well, the response they had, and those were two very unfortunate incidents, but one involved people who knew each other, so it was some sort of beef. And then the other was an attempt robbery in which one robber
didn't he shoot
shot
the other one?
Yeah. So so both very unfortunate for the folks who ended up injured or killed in the second one, but also unfortunate for the person who was the victim of the attempted robbery. That's got to be very, very traumatic. But our police were out there and were able to respond to it, get people the help they needed, get the store secure, and make sure there was no additional issue. And
seemed like quick arrests too. Very quick that they got to they figured out who was doing
for the first one. I think they have a person of interest, and I don't want to speak too much about the investigations for fear of getting it incorrect. But for the second incident, I believe they have a person of interest who they believe is the offender. I just think between them and Chicago PD, they haven't found them yet.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it is something that, we work to prevent crime. You don't want to just be able to react to crime. And, I think Walmart does a lot to, try and keep their store safe.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there anything else they could be doing? Or because it always seems like lately it just seems like it's only the Walmart. It's not like it's the Starbucks, it's the Walmart.
Right. And it's not really even the Sam's Club or the Shoe Carnival, or it just seems to be, that is a really, really heavily visited Walmart. So some of it is just the numbers. You have so many people coming in, and sometimes those folks have conflict with each other. So, I do want to stress that overall, it's very, very safe. These are two very unfortunate and scary instances, but the police responded. They were there. Walmart has been very, very cooperative. And we do have a lot of preventive or proactive measures in place in terms of those license plate readers and cameras and things like that to try and minimize, any criminal activity.
So I also saw online a couple days ago, District 124 had been looking to build a new central middle school. They were thinking about a vote. And then they put out something essentially saying after they've done some research and gotten public input, they're going to put this on hold. It's not dead, but they're putting it on hold because it's not time. People just took, a big hit with property taxes across the board, and this would also raise them in Evergreen Park. And so they've decided to kind of table it for now and continue to talk with people. And it kind of struck me there was like a parallel for me. Like, they reacted and actually listened to public opinion. I remember you were on here within the last year and we were talking about that dispensary. It was a while back, but there were people that talked about it. There were people that had opinions on it. It didn't end up going in. I just was wondering your take on that, because to me, it seems like at least when the public has an opinion, people are listening. You and District 124 separately, but you both seem to have the same philosophy.
Well, and I think that's, that is what responsible responsible leadership does is, get input. I mean, you sometimes have knowledge that the public doesn't have that, that helps you make your decision. But hearing what people are feeling is it's one of government's, biggest, it's one of their number one jobs. And I do think that the school district really, really made a big effort to collect as much input as they could. I mean, there was plenty of information about the proposal, plenty of opportunities for folks to weigh in, whether it was through those public meetings or the community surveys. And so I think they really did make a concerted effort to find out what people were thinking and whether or not this was something that people would support. So, it is not an easy job to be a school board member. Folks are volunteers. It is a lot of work, even when you're not facing, a challenge with the building, like, with the referendum. So just in a regular day, it's a lot of work. And these folks volunteer to do it because they're trying to make things better. So I give them, credit for undertaking all of this and getting the feedback, and then ultimately making a decision that, they didn't think it was something that the public could accept right now.
Yeah, but the great thing is I have you here, so you can clear this up, because I already know this. But I mean, like, you're not related. Like, I know that I keep seeing comments in terms of like the idea of like, well, why would we spend money on the school when the police might need it? And they're two different budgets. And is there any relationship at all between the village and the school boards, or is it just basically like, hey, we're the village, we do our thing, and you're a school board and you do your thing, you just happen to be inside of our village? Like, how does that work so people understand it? Because I feel like there's always confusion.
So each school district in Evergreen Park, so we've got District 231, District 124, one's the high school, one's the grade school. They are their own separate entity. They have their own separately elected boards, and those boards are elected by Evergreen Park residents and are answerable and responsible to Evergreen Park residents. So they set their own budget. They levy their own property taxes. They spend, the school funds are we're two totally separate entities. And, I guess it's understandable that people would just sort of lump it into one, but it is that, we do our thing and we have our role and our responsibilities. The school districts have their role and their responsibilities.
They don't come to you for permission. You don't tell them what to do. It's nothing like that, correct?
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we work, we work together. We have a lot of really, we've got a lot of common goals, obviously to make Evergreen Park a really great place to live. And we work together. Like one of the things we recently started doing with both school districts is, the village has a TIF district that runs pretty much the length of, not the whole length of 95th Street, but from roughly Pulaski to California, and with some properties on Kedzie as well. And we had it been in existence for a while. It was started when Mayor Sexton was mayor, and there's an opportunity to renew the life of that TIF, and it goes toward economic development. It goes towards beautification of the business district. But when we sought to renew that, we also entered into a revenue sharing agreement with both school districts. So starting last year, some of the property tax money we get through the TIF district, we then pay back out to the school district. So we are now sharing. So, that's a way where we're, trying to bring more tax dollars into the school districts, because they can use it for whatever, capital needs that they need. But again, common goals, we're trying to make Evergreen Park the best we can.
Speaking of making Evergreen Park the best that they can, we had Deacon Mark Phelan in here, one of your trustees, recently on this show. And then I heard that he suffered a spill over at the food pantry. And it struck me that people don't sometimes get it. He doesn't just come in here to talk about the food pantry because it's his pet project. He's working there.
Yeah.
Okay. He does all, like, he's a deacon. He's a football coach. He's working at the food pantry. He's at all the trustee meetings. He's talking with the public. The guy never stops.
Yep.
And I just was wondering, how is he? And isn't it like, to me, it just struck me as like, that's the kind of person he is. He didn't get hurt because he was standing there doing nothing. He got hurt because he rolls up his sleeves and dives in.
Yeah, I think he was waiting for a delivery of some food and was going to work to put it on the shelves. But he unfortunately took a tumble. I think he's okay. He's hurt his back. I don't know exactly how bad it is. But I think when he fell, there was some colorful
I'm sure.
language not befitting a deacon that went out, which is understandable. And as you know, like if you've ever done it, when you fall, you're in shock.
You're in shock.
You're
when
not
it
shocked.
happens. Yeah.
And so he's resting at home. He'll have to be on the road to recovery. He won't be lifting any boxes.
No.
Anytime soon. But anyway, Mark is a great guy who does a lot for our community that he doesn't really even ever talk about. So he's a great asset to have on the board. He's a great asset to have as a neighbor. So everybody, kind of keep Mark in your prayers that his injuries are minimal and he's back at it.
Awesome. Was there a highlight for you for 2025 as we come here to the end of the year? A project that worked out well for you, an initiative, something that just was awesome? Like, was there a highlight?
So too, we do a lot of fun things with the village. We have, all our events and things like that. And those are fun and they're what people respond to. So like Oktoberfest was fantastic this year. The parade was fantastic. But we also do a lot of work that requires a lot of planning, a lot of money, a lot of work outreach with residents. And these are big projects. So we did a street resurfacing project in the Northwest quadrant this summer, and then following up on the heels of that in an area adjacent to where we had the street repaving project, we started on our the first year of our 20-year lead service line replacement. Yes, we talked
about this on the show, yeah.
Yeah. So we got that underway, and again, these are really the process to get there has been complicated. Both projects went off great. A lot of work, a lot of expertise, but we're coming on the end of the 2025 part of the lead service line replacement, and so far it's gone pretty well, and residents have been really great to work with. So fingers crossed that as we go into phase 2 in 2026, that it will go even more smoothly because we've also learned a lot. Awesome. Along the way. So I'm really, really proud of everybody involved. Our public works, our engineer, the contractors, all did a great job.
All right. Well, Mayor Kelly Burke, before I let you go, anything on the horizon for 26? Is the big thing the thing you were talking about already with the parks, or like what are we looking at?
Well, so we're anxiously awaiting to see if we get that grant, because that will be a lot of work, but it'll be awesome. But also, I totally forgot, we're introducing a new event. We're going to have a 5K in the spring.
Oh, cool.
And it's going to be called the Leprechaun Leap.
Okay.
It's going to be in March. So not the Shamrock Shuffle, that's the one downtown, but
right.
We're calling it the Leprechaun Leap. And it's going to kick off, hopefully, I hate to talk about winter being over when it just started this week, but that'll be sometime in March. So everybody stay tuned, but it'll be a great way for us to kind of kick off the spring season and get people back outside again.
Do you have an idea of a route where it's going to go? Is it going to be all over Evergreen, or maybe over in the Circle Park area?
I think it's going to focus at Circle Park, because
okay.
we have a course that's been rated and certified by the racing folks, and so I think if we stick with that, it's probably for the best.
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah, so it's there, and there'll be other things that go along with it. We're going to make it a little bit of a celebration, but it'll be fun to have a 5K come back into town.
Very, very cool. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by.
My pleasure.
Time flew. It's like a whole show. We sat here. I learned an awful lot, and I know that everybody appreciates it when we hear from our local leaders, and you're always nice enough to come on. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-5700. 1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them.
It is now time for your repeat podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Spoken Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. A great place to hang out during the holiday season, any time of the year. It's a great place to hang out with the small plates and the wine and all the knowledge about the wine and friends and family and people that you're just out with, whether it's a weeknight. They got lunch now. The weekends are always really great. Check everything out on their website, including the Santa Sparkles tasting events. You can get tickets for these now. Several evenings, early afternoons as well. I see a few of them. They're doing this throughout the month of December. You've got wine tastings, you got food tasting, you've got all kinds of fun. It's $50 a person. It's a great bargain. It's a great price for an experience at Spoken Vine. See all the details at SpokenVineWines.com. As for your word on the street, the Santa's Wonderland event happening this Saturday in Evergreen Park on the 13th of December. There's going to be a few changes because it's going to be really, really cold. All right, so they're going to move a lot of the activities indoors. The Rain Dog Parade will be outdoors still at 1:30 in the afternoon. Then they're going to have the vendor fair, Santa visits, cookie decorating, Disney character visits, food vendors, and the DJ all inside. They're going to do the Holly Jolly Trolley, but you'll line up inside because they don't want anybody getting hurt. It's going to be really cold out there on Saturday. And the annual tree lighting ceremony will be a little bit briefer. It's moving up to 5 p.m. This is all at Klein Park and the Community Center. But the Santa Wonderland event is still going on this Saturday. Go check it out. As we approach the holiday season, the Evergreen Park Fire Department wants to remind you to keep your holiday safe and happy. They have put a big wreath up there at the fire department, and it's a bunch of red lights. And every time somebody has a fire, they change one of the lights to white, and now you've ruined the wreath. So don't ruin the wreath. Keep the wreath red and be very, very safe during this holiday season. And remember, December the 15th is the final week for yard waste pickup in Evergreen Park. That is it for the year. And you got to wait until everything warms up again. Yard waste bins are picked up on your scheduled garbage day. Dispose of all leaves and garden waste in the yard waste containers. Please don't throw them out into the street. It's late in the season now. Take care of that. Last pickup on December the 15th. That is your word on the street. This has been the EP Podcast. My thanks to my special guest, Mayor Kelly Burke, and we will see you next week anywhere podcasts can be found and always at the eppodcast.com.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.